If everybody could take their seats, we'll be starting the program in just a minute or two. So if you could take your seats, we'll get started shortly. Good evening, everyone, and on behalf of the Fulton Montgomery Regional Chamber of Commerce, I want to welcome you to tonight's program, a presentation of the Chamber's Governmental Affairs Committee. Tonight's great program being presented by Matthew Ossenfort, Executive of Montgomery County. It's the 2018 Montgomery County State of the County. So thank you for coming and weathering this evening. It's not that bad out, but it's worse than we had yesterday, so thanks for continuing to come out tonight. First of all, I want to mention our sponsors for tonight's show. CT Mail and Associates is our sponsor for today's event. As many of you probably know, CT Mail has a long history of working in our region and has maintained an office in Fulton County since 1988. CT Mail has a long-standing relationship with the Fulton Montgomery Chamber of Commerce. CT Mail is a full-service professional engineering firm headquartered in the Albany area since 1910. and they maintain office throughout New York State, including one in Johnstown. Many of you know Chad Courts, who also lives in Johnstown. Chad manages the CT Mail's office in Johnstown. Dave Roker, CT Mail's Chief Executive Officer, is attending along with Chad tonight, I believe. Chad, where are you in the audience? Thank you, Chad, and let's give him a hand for sponsoring tonight's program. CT Mail provides a variety of services, including survey, land development, GIS, environmental engineering, civil engineering, architectural, and energy services for both the public and private sector clients. They have been selected to lead several important assignments in this area, a few examples being emergency trunk sewer repairs in the city of Gloversville in 2017, which recently received an award from the American Public Works Association, the Montgomery County Public Safety Complex Edition, the Chalmers Building Environmental Restoration Project in Amsterdam, the Tryon Technology Park and Incubator Center project in Perth, and the CG Roxanne Water Bottling Facility in Johnstown. Historically, CT Mail has been involved in regionally important projects such as the Crossroads Industrial and Business Parks in Gloversville, the Johnstown Industrial Park, and many other projects for both public and private clients alike. CT Mail would be pleased to discuss what professional assistance they might offer to any of the members of the Chamber today or any point in the future. Anyone interested in opening a dialogue with CT Mail should contact Chad or Dave, who are both here, as I said earlier. And thank you again for sponsoring tonight's event. And I'm sure if you grab Chad after the event, he'll be willing to talk to or at least give out some information on how he can be contacted. Great sponsors of the Chamber they are. Now a little bit about tonight's special guest, Matt Ossenfort. Matt was reelected as county executive in November of 2017 for another 4-year term. At 36, he's the youngest city county executive in New York State. Following a change in the form of county government, Mr. Ossenfort was elected to Montgomery County as Montgomery County's first executive in November of 2013. Regionally, County Executive Ossenfort has served as a member of the Mohawk Valley Regional Economic Development Council and a member of the MV 500 team, submitted a plan as part of the Upstate Revitalization Initiative, seeking to catalyze economic growth in the Mohawk Valley region. Locally, Mr. Ossenfort has served on numerous boards that have had as their goal to benefit the local community and its residents. He was the founding member and past president of the Montgomery County, New York chapter of Habitat for Humanity. Mr. Ossenfort also served as chairman of the Amsterdam Golf Commission. He currently sits on the Fulton County YMCA board and is also a Rotarian. In 2015, County Executive Ossenfort was appointed by Governor Andrew M. Cuomo to the State Workforce Investment Board. County Executive Ossenfort is a member of the County Executives of America and the National Association of Counties, and has been active with the New York State Association of Counties as well. Again, Matt Ossenfort.
Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing? Good to be here. Welcome to the 2018 State of the County Address, which I find it really hard to believe that this is already my 5th State of the County, and it's just gone by. I mean, I remember the first election, I was getting married and running for an election in the same week, and now here we are all these years later, and I'd like to quickly introduce Melissa, my wife, and my daughter Kaylee, who's a little more mobile this year. And we have my mother and Rich are here tonight too. It's always great to have the support of your family. It certainly makes all the long nights and stressful evenings and stressful days worth it to have that support system there. I'd also like to offer a quick thank you to President and Dr. Dusty Swanger for allowing us to use this venue. We did it last year, and I thought it was a fantastic place to do it, so we decided to do it again this year. And his team, Paula, Gabe, and Jason, for helping us get ready and do what we need to do here. Also, the Chamber, Mark, thank you for that gracious introduction. Appreciate that. It's been a pleasure to work with you. And, you know, I think I've always said, you know, the greatest joy I get out of this position is the relationships that you build and the people that you have, you get to spend your time with. And, you know, I'd like to recognize some of those folks right now. We have on our county board here tonight. I'm going to go through it, and then if you could give them a round of applause. We have our clerk of the legislature, Cheryl Reese, Legislator Duchessi, Diamond, Pep, Wilson, Headwell, the chairman this year, and Legislator Pertel. If we could give them a round of applause, I appreciate you guys being here. We also have a former legislator, Ryan Weitz, is with us tonight, as well as I think I saw Judge Cortez come in. He's here. I got a nice call from the judge last year, and it was one of those compliments that meant the world to me, that he appreciated the vision that we laid out, and certainly coming from a man of your stature, it really means a lot to me. We also have a number of our team members here at the county. We have our county clerk, Helen Bartone, our DPW commissioner, Eric Mead, real property, Sandy Frazier, our personnel officer, Nicole Yeagle, Ken Rose in economic development, my work mom, as I like to say it sometimes, Lucille Sitterly, director of probation. If I could earn her respect, that's another one that is right up there with Mr. Cortez. We also have Brenda Rava and our county attorney, Megan Mannion, the guys in our IT department who are helping us broadcast this live across the internet. I couldn't believe the amount of people last year that saw it on the internet and talked to me about it from time to time. I was out in Albany and I had random people that I haven't seen in years coming up to talk about the state of the county. We have Commissioner McMahon from DSS. We have Mr. Jeff Smith from Emergency Management, as well as a whole host of other county employees here. And I know I'm going to miss somebody, so I'm just going to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for all the work that you guys do, and I really appreciate you being here tonight. With that said, I wanted to take just a quick couple seconds to, oftentimes as we go through the list, we go through the dignitaries and we go through the elected officials and things of that nature. But we've got a few people here tonight that I wanted to take a minute to recognize, and I know I'm going to be yelled at tomorrow for this, but I think it's important. Kathy and Caroline, if you two could just stand up quickly. Can we give these two wonderful ladies a round of applause? I will explain why. So, the people that are in the trenches every day are the real people that get the work done. I'm lucky enough to come out and talk about the victories we've had and the good things that we've done. But for example, Caroline handles all of our issues related to our retirees, their health insurance, their retirement, answering questions. So when the county executive and the legislature want to switch to a different provider, and all of a sudden new cards are going to come in the mail, and a lot of the seniors are wondering what the heck is going on, is my benefits changing, things. She's the one that's always there to reassure them that everything's going to be okay, and this is what's going on, and the amount of passion that she has for the job is admirable, and I often refer to her as the sweetest and nicest person in Montgomery County. Now then, there's Kathy. Who I'm not sure I'd say is the sweetest person in Montgomery County, but she is also a rock star. And, I've heard stories of long before I was here where, Kathy's doing payroll on vacation, Kathy's doing payroll through pregnancies, and, putting in that extra effort. And these are the people that make everything turn and help us get things done at the county. So I just wanted to take a minute to embarrass them. And also, but say from the bottom of my heart, thank you, because there's a lot of folks out there that people never see that are really doing the work. Also, and this is going to be a surprise to him, there's another person in the audience tonight who has served in a variety of capacities, not just at the county, but the state of New York. He served as the #2 guy at the state fair for some time. He was the director of marketing at the Canal Corporation. He served in the city of Amsterdam, the county of Montgomery, and I just learned recently that he has about a year to go before he retires. So I wanted to just at this time, when I talk about, how these personal relationships matter to me, I knocked on this person's door when I was running for office, and I didn't know him from a hole in the wall. And he has since become one of my best friends, and both professionally and personally. So I just like to just give a quick round of applause for Mr. Carl Gustafson and everything he's done. Carl, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you've done for the community over the years, and look forward to your final full-time year, although I doubt we'll be able to shake him that easily. We also have a number of other elected officials in the room, which I know I'm going to miss some folks here, but I can say this because Mike Villa isn't here, but my favorite mayor, Mr. Francis Avery from the village of Canajoharie, who's here along with Jeff Baker and John Snyder. You talk about relationships, you know, we've had our good days, we've had our bad days, we've had days where we've been right on the same page, or we've had other days where he's come into the office, and I believe that one time he said, Matt, I think we're going to have to start talking about a divorce. And I said, but we got through it, no problem. We also have Supervisor Ed Bishop and Matt Patton, Janet Tyler from the town of Mohawk, along with Supervisor Bob Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully, for those that know him, and as well, and Jack Wilson from the town of Johnstown. Guys, thank you very much for being here. And lastly, with the introductions, because I know I'm going on, we have Ryan Hortsmeyer, Ryan McAllister, both from our congressmen, Paul Tonko and John Fasso's office, respectively, as well as Brittany Colby from Senator George Amador's office. Guys, thank you for being here. So, with that out of the way, we can have some fun here, and you know, I wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, this speech this year. Our goals have very much remained the same, and this is not a speech that you're going to see any new grand announcements. Rather, I want to talk to you about how we've been gritty, how we persevered through our goals and the challenges that have come up along the way in us trying to achieve those goals. And I'll give you a couple quick examples. The Dollar General project that everybody's familiar with. You know, long after the press releases came out, the articles were in the paper, we actually had some late permitting issues that, you know, really we were worried may jeopardize the project. And it just showed me that, you know, until it's done, it's not done. And these are the things that happen along the way. I'll give you another example, the bike path. You know, we put out, you know, the release, we have money to repave the bike path, resurface the bike path, and all of a sudden we're waiting on the State Dormitory Authority. So anyone that has done CFA grants knows it's one of the agencies that it's really tough to get projects through and grants through. Well, it took us about a year and a half, and you can't spend the money until that you get that sign off. And in the meantime, I was getting accused of using that money for artwork on the pedestrian bridge in Amsterdam. And you know, people come up with some interesting, you know, ideas along the way. And you know, these things, you know, they're not easy. But eventually the good news is our legislature we did get that approval. Our legislature passed resolution this month. So we're going to continue to work on that bike path. But, you know, my point being that, you know, this is hard work. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. You know, we're grinding through, and that's what this year is all about. It's following through on the goals that we've already laid out. And I'm going to talk and give you a little bit more of a status update tonight, or a progress report, rather than, you know, a speech with a whole bunch of new announcements in it. There's really not a whole lot of new announcements tonight. But as many of you know me, first and foremost, public safety has been a priority. And again, this is another one of these multi-year projects, multi-million-dollar projects. We did a radio upgrade that will allow our first responders to communicate with each other. So if there's a storm coming in west to east, now the first responders can hear what others are saying and know what to expect. And that's thanks to Jeff's hard work. Finally, we're getting our emergency management equipment out of the flood zone. Can you imagine, you know, and I've talked about it before, the need to do it, you know, having an emergency and not being able to get to your equipment. Well, that garage is going to be hopefully get done this year, and as Jeff and I talked about, hopefully right on budget, right, sir? And also the work never ends. Just last night, you know, we think we're in the clear with the flooding, and all of a sudden, you know, Jeff's up at was it Wagner's Hollow Road in Palatine? You know, ice jam broke, water, ice in the road. They clear it out. Guess what? Here comes more. I'm getting pictures this morning of chunks of ice bigger than you could believe in the middle of the road. So it's important to stay on top of those things. But I'm very proud of the work we've done there. And switching gears to economic development and more of that, you know, the state of our local economy. I want to give you some statistics that probably will surprise you. Since 2011, the total private sector jobs in Montgomery County is up 5.6%, which is more now than when the recession hit in 2007. In that same time period, annual wages in Montgomery County are up 12%, which is outpacing the state average. In addition to that, the number of unemployed people in the county has decreased by 48%. That rate dropped by 4.3%, which is also outpacing the state average. You're seeing local real estate come back. I'm hearing from a lot of the realtors that they're seeing home values they're seeing go up, they're seeing house prices or houses sell quicker, which is certainly a good sign. And what I'm surprised to find out, which in the beginning when I first ran for office, it was we need jobs, we need jobs. That's what I heard everywhere. Now the problem or the issue or the challenge, I like to say, has become our workforce, having a qualified and skilled workforce that can meet the demands of industry. We have, we're having this issue now. Can you imagine when 400 new jobs come online in the Dollar General project towards the end of next year and into 2019? So we need to be prepared for that. So we've done some things that I want to share with you to address that issue. The first is, and I talked a little bit about it last year, but I'm happy to say we're now on our third round, and thank you to our commissioner, thank you to Dusty at the college. I did give you a nice intro, but I think you might have missed that. We've done this pilot program where we're literally taking folks that are on county services, whether it be safety net, long-term services, and identifying folks that we can put through a 4-week training program, give them a certificate, prove that they're job ready, and say, you know what, if you pass a drug test and get through this 4-week program, we have a job for you. That was an idea last time around that was just getting going. We're now on our third round. The first 2 rounds have been very successful. I think it was about 16 out of 21 people in the first round were off services and in a job. I mean, that is, and we're going to continue to grow that. The county IDA was a big part of that. I'd also like to thank John McGlone for being here from our county IDA, as well as Matt Beck, good friend, but also our county IDA member. And those things are important. Not only are we getting people into work, but we're taking people off the tax rolls or off the rolls of services. And we need to do a lot more of that, because part of this workforce issue is the fact that there is a segment of the population in Montgomery County, and we can talk about this for hours about why, and it's this generational dependency that you're seeing, and then the affordability of the area. But that's a challenge, but it's going to be proactive initiatives like this that help break that cycle. And then also, the county IDA and the County Economic Development Office have been doing a great job related to trying to market the area outside. It's not just trying to recruit businesses. It's not trying to just market the area and be successful that way. But it also relates to employment. And they've launched a website called Montgomery County Works. Because what's the goal here? Let's think about it. We want people to take a look at Montgomery County and realize there's opportunity here. Wow, I can get this job. I can get that house for $80,000. People start moving into the area. Wages start to go up. Home values start to go up. The amount of people in our downtowns begin to increase. And then all of a sudden other opportunities become more viable. But, just to show you what we've been doing, I want to play for you a little video that I think is fantastic. This shows what we're doing. It goes to the target is out people from outside of the area about what Montgomery County has to offer.
I-90 and I-87 are still at a standstill this morning. You are going to be late.
So as you can see in that video, what are we trying to get across? The quality of life. You're not going to be stuck in traffic on the Northway for a half hour when you're trying to get to work. That there are opportunities here. Just that you notice there was a lot of green space in that video. That was all done out of our marketing study, and I see Michelle giggling back there because she did a little cameo in that video. But that's what we're trying to get across. And I've spent previous state of the counties talking about our branding initiative, and I'm not going to go through that because I promised everyone I'd keep it short and sweet this year. But I think our Economic Development Office needs, it deserves a lot of credit for what they've been doing to try to promote the area outside of the area. And what has been our focus in economic development? It's been our downtowns, it's been canals, it's been recreation, it's been obviously industrial development, as well as agriculture. And I wanted to go through, I got 10 projects that I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about, give you an update. Exit 29, obviously this is my baby. This is the most important thing I feel I work on. It's my passion. We've made we've been going at about 5 times the speed of government with this project. If you think just a couple short years ago, the mayor and I were essentially taking bets over whether the county would actually foreclose on this property. But you know what? We did our due diligence. When we found out the owner, who was not going to pay the taxes, it was up to no good as far as the region, we decided that we were going to step it up and do the right thing, and which then led to, environmental studies by EPA, figuring out what the contamination was on the site, getting to a point where our legislature could be comfortable with foreclosing and taking the ownership. So now we're a proud owner of a 20-plus acre brownfield, and which a lot of people would be a little nervous about, but we've done it the right way. Our county attorney, Megan Mannion, who has an environmental law background, has been absolutely just fantastic when it comes to this project, helping us work with EPA, DEC, obviously our economic development office. But we have taken ownership. We've actually just removed a few hundred tons of debris from the site, $300,000 worth that we paid for with a National Grid grant. Those piles that you saw outside the facility that had asbestos in it that was getting into the air, those piles are now gone, thankfully, and we've satisfied that issue with EPA. And then you take the next step further. Well, what are we doing next? Well, we have a $6 million worth of Restore New York grants that I was really hoping that we could announce today that we got that grant, but unfortunately not yet. I'm hearing good things behind the scenes, but hopefully that'll happen. But if that grant's successful, you're going to see in 2018 that site completely change, because $6 million worth of demolition, or even $3 million worth of demolition, is really going to help us make that site more attractive and to the private sector. Then you add on top of that, we've done extensive community outreach, both in the community. We went to the schools. It was amazing, the difference that you heard at the public meeting. That was an older crew, and then we went to the high schools, and that was a very different thought on what they felt should be there. We're currently doing about $150,000 or so worth of local waterfront revitalization grants that are aimed at the target industry analysis. What are the best fits for that site? The building condition assessment. Is there any of that building that can be saved? We're answering those questions, and all along gearing up for hopefully a big Restore New York announcement in which we can get some of that demolition done this year and keep moving things forward. So that's very exciting. There's a lot of good stuff going on there. As I said, Mayor Villa isn't here tonight. He had a bit of a personal issue he was dealing with, but he texted me this morning, and I told him, don't worry, I'll carry the message. But, you look in Amsterdam, there's a lot of great things. For the first time since probably I was a little kid like Kaylee, there's new construction going on in the city of Amsterdam. You have 120 housing units and a 300-person banquet facility going in right on the river. We talked about it. The downtowns, the canals, the recreation is all our priority. It fits right into what we're trying to do, and that's going to see, you're going to see that keep going. And I always tell the story about, it was Halloween, right, Melissa, a couple years ago, and we decided. Melissa says, "Oh, they're having a trunk and treat on the bridge in Amsterdam. Let's go down and let's take Kaylee." Well, we get down there, my entire street was there, and I couldn't believe it. And we're sitting there all talking, and I said, "Can you imagine? Do you ever think we'd be celebrating Halloween on a piece of steel hanging over the Mohawk River?" And the answer is no. I never would have imagined that. But this is how you keep plugging away. Good things happen, and now we're capitalizing on that attention, that activity, and you're seeing development right on the river down there. Not to mention the new hotel that's going up, and a whole host of other things going on in Amsterdam. But I really think that's going to be something that really changes the game. Obviously, there's some projects going on in downtown. But in keeping with that theme, you'll see in Fonda this year, they got a $500,000 grant that we've been working on with them for years for canal side improvements. You're talking boat docking, parking for trailers and campers, an entertainment pavilion, a veterans memorial. I mean, that is a big project that fits right into what we're trying to do. And then I'd also like to give some kudos to Amanda in our economic development office. This is another really exciting idea. We submitted a Reimagine the Canal grant to the state of New York. And what we're looking to do, believe it or not, is to rewater Clinton's Ditch next to the visitor center over at the Schoharie Crossing. And that would allow people to kayak on an original 1820s section of the canal. I mean, how cool would that be? And from what I understand and what Amanda and I were talking, they have this in Buffalo. People are ice skating up and down the canal and taking these assets that we have and turning them into a positive. that's going to attract people to the area. That is really exciting. This is going to be a very competitive grant, but at least the conversation started, and we can hopefully try to shepherd this along over the next few years. Also, working with the Exit 29 site, I've learned more about brownfields than I ever possibly could have wanted to, and our team has gathered a valuable level of experience and knowledge on the topic. So what we're trying to do is extend that knowledge across into other areas of the county. And right now we're working on 2 different brownfields in the St. Johnsville area. The old Palatine Dye Factory, which runs right along the creek up there, which is not a great situation, and the old linen factory, which is down right by the river. EPA recently had an action order. We were up in there freezing our tails off, checking it out. But they've done some cleaning there, but we're going to try to apply the skills and the resources that we have to help with these brownfields across the county, and obviously there's a lot of that going on in the city of Amsterdam as well. Also, obviously we're an agricultural community, and that is something that we need to pay attention to and do what we can to help. This year we were able to get about a $200,000 micro enterprise grant, so you can allow small agricultural type startups grants to get them off the ground. I mean, sometimes folks just need that little extra help to get things moving. And also in the western part of the county, we just were able to help them get a grant to do a local waterfront redevelopment plan. These plans are essential because when you go for these grants, you need to have a game plan. You need to know what you want to do if you're going to convince others and get these grants. So to get that done in the western part of the county would be a big deal. Also, obviously the bike path that I talked about, we're going to be doing a couple $100,000 more of paving this year, which again, focusing on recreational opportunities, outdoor living, things of that nature. And I referred to it earlier, a little update on the Dollar General project, which, as we all know, is about 400 jobs. Things are on track. A lion's share of the work is going to be happening this year. And believe it or not, they're actually going to probably look, hopefully if things go according to plan, at starting to hire people at the end of this year and in the beginning of next year. So think about it. You go from that chaotic moment where, Ken calls and says, you need to call the governor's office. We have a permitting issue. And, the nerves that go down your spine because, you've made announcements, things have happened, people have voted on things, and all of a sudden it's like, uh-oh, we got a problem. But that is moving along, and I think it's a testament to their office as well. Also, it's not just bringing in the new businesses, it's the expansion of existing businesses. And I know this is a project that a lot of people are excited about, the Vita Blend expansion, which is up, in that town of Florida corridor up there, just outside of the city. But they're going to actually be going into right across from where the Dollar General site is. Now, you're talking about, having a current business now growing and thriving in our community. You listen to some of the naysayers, you would not think this stuff is going on. It is going on. They have about 15 current employees. They're going to be adding 18. They're more than doubling their workforce. That's the kind of good stuff that's going on in this community. Also, I just want to give an update. We've been on the forefront of shared services, and we submitted that $20 million Hunger Games type application that the governor put out there, and it was a heck of a plan. We still have not heard an answer on who's going to win that. I think quite frankly, we're in the top 2. I think Chautauqua County has a very good application. But we'll see. We haven't heard anything about that, but rather than sit and wait, we've decided to explore. There's a lot of opportunity out there for state funding for these projects. One is the Municipal Restructuring Fund. We've submitted 4 grants that come from that plan that have been approved, and we're moving forward with things like the digital records management. And I was just talking with our IT folks today. Again, I talked ad nauseum in the past about snail mail and the amount of file cabinets we have, and the amount of time it takes for people to retrieve files, and what a waste of time that is. We actually have this platform now, which initially is City of Amsterdam, Town of Florida, Town of Amsterdam, and the county. This platform is now up and running. Documents have been scanned, loaded into the system. You can now go in, search, right? You can shake your head if I'm lying about any of this. And you can go in and search. So rather than a person in, whether it's probation personnel, going and looking through the file cabinets and trying to find it, and it's not here, where could it be? Oh, maybe somebody put it over here. Now you go in, you search, and you got it. And that's the type of efficiencies we're looking for. And so far, so good. So we're staying tuned on the $20 million, but we'll have to see. The last big portion of my speech today is I want to talk to you about our budget, our county budget. And as you can tell, we have a lot of big ideas, we have a lot of goals, but you always have to balance those goals, that vision, through your budgetary realities. And one of the things I've been desperate for is to get out of the annex building and consolidate our county offices. Unfortunately, just this past year, and I've talked a lot about our offices, our equipment, our trucks, our vehicles have been neglected over the years. And this year was no exception. We've had 4 different boilers go in 4 different buildings. Just 2, I think, were complete losses. We've replaced 3 roofs this year. So when you're trying to get some momentum and get things moving, and all of a sudden you got to stop everything because it's, winters are coming and we have no heat. These are the things that are really challenging. So we've had to make these investments over the past few years. And I look at Ray and I just think of the truck we used to drive around. Now Ray has a suitable truck for the position. These are the things we've had to make these investments over the last 4 years. And, in the 2015, sales tax had a real low year and it was difficult. And we've had, our fund balance has dipped just below $8 million, which isn't a great cause for concern, but now's the time to try to squeeze that extra penny out of the nickel. But the good news is, and this was the best news I've gotten in a long time, is that our sales tax was up 5.9%, which was the biggest increase in the Mohawk Valley, which I am incredibly proud of because you can look at what's going on in the counties around us. And we were up 14% in the fourth quarter, which shows very strong retail sales, which is a big concern for us because, with the internet, a lot of these brick and mortar shops are closing up, and how is retail going to sustain itself? To see that 14% increase in the fourth quarter was huge. And just to give you an idea what that means in numbers, that's $1.6 million over what we did last year and almost $2 million over what we budgeted. And that's also just not the county that's going to help. 40% of that goes to the towns and villages in the county. So that's a boost for them as well. But I want to talk to you just briefly about this new form of government. Here we are, 5th state of the county. And over the first few years, it was a learning process. What's the role of the executive? What's the role of the legislature? How do we figure this out? And this year, I feel like we've really gotten into our stride. And I think a big part of that is obviously working through it. Our clerk of the legislature has done a great job with some of the new folks that came in this year and making that transition. But I'd really like to really thank Legislator Pep. You awake here? No, but I want to say that because we've been blessed with a guy who has a corporate banking background, has a serious attention to detail, but is also very knowledgeable, can really help explain very complicated things and help people understand it. People like me can actually understand some of the intricacies of our budget now, thanks to him. And I wanted to just explain to you a little bit about what we're doing. Mike and the team have created, and Sean Bowerman, our county treasurer, who's obviously a huge asset for us, has created this system, this dashboard report, where every month, we usually have our committee meetings on the third week of the month, our full board meetings on the 4th. But the second week now we have what we call these financial budget workshops, which has been the brainchild of Mike. And what Mike does is he reviews with Sean for each month's meeting what's going on in our dashboard that outlines any irregularities we might have. Talks with Sean about, this is why this is, and figures it out. And he comes every month to these budget workshops prepared and able to explain any issues that whether it's claiming in DSS and why, certain numbers are the way they are, and it's really helped because not just on helping us understand and helping us really have a better handle of the finances and really look into, what's causing what and allows us a better analysis of the situation, but it's helped, I think, characterize the role of the legislature and the role of the executive. The legislature is big picture issues. It's where's our budget going? What's our priorities? Where do we want to be in 2, 3, 4 years? Policy decisions. I get to handle the day-to-day stuff. I get to get calls about potholes and all, and although I'm sure you guys get some of that. But, I handle the day-to-day stuff. The executive handles the day-to-day. But the legislature is now really into that mode of really charting the county in a proper course. And what we're doing this year, on top of those budget dashboard reports, we have asked all of our big departments to say, hey, we're going to start the budget process long before the budget process starts. We want you to go, and if you had to cut 15% out of your budget, where would you cut it? And what would the impact be on services? Not because we're saying we're going to cut you 15%, but we want to know, and we want to have that discussion. And we had our first data, and our IT department and DPW came in first, and you can imagine the look on these two department heads' faces when I explained to them what their task was. But in that discussion, and I'll use IT for an example, he said, well, I believe the 15% cut to your budget was about $130,000 or something of that nature. And, we outlined that, that would have a real impact on services, and I think we all agreed that, we really don't want to go that far. But out of that discussion said, well, you know what, I could save $30,000 here, and I could save $30,000 here. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to stimulate that discussion early. So when we get to budget time, now all of a sudden we're not trying to deal with 20 plus departments and trying to squeeze all that information into a very condensed time frame. And I have to say that, the legislature has been fantastic as far as teaming up on these issues. And really, the first few years, we were settling into what the roles were. Now we know what the roles were and roles are, and really seeing what can happen when we work together and use all of our resources that we bring to the table. So I want to thank the legislature for that. I think we're going to have probably one of the smoothest budget processes we've ever had this year because of it. And it's because that work has happened in ahead of time. So lastly, the thing I'd like to talk to you about is kind of perception and choices that we make. And I'll share just one last quick story. It was a few months ago, we get a email from a paper in the area. It wasn't one of our local papers. The email basically said, I'm doing a story based on this study that came out, which nowadays you can pick a lot of times information that you want to prove your own point. Well, I think that was one of these situations, and it said, we want to do a story about how Montgomery County has been left behind compared to Schenectady and Saratoga counties. Now, can you imagine my blood pressure at that point? Because I'm here busting my hump, and our team is busting our humps to try to really improve things around here. And we're seeing positive things happening. But yet, this is what we deal with. For a long time, it was us in Schenectady. Now it's us in Saratoga, and that's what you're hearing. And so we said, you know what? I'm not going to say anything about this story until you come out and let me take you around this county and show you the good things that are happening. Now, when that reporter had to go back to his editor, the editor still ran with the headline. But when you read the story, I really think we changed that particular reporter's mind on what his perception is of the area. And that's what it's all about. Everybody can look at, the same situation and have different opinions. I choose to be someone that tries to find the good and tries to find the positive. Because let's face it, folks, if we don't be our greatest champions, nobody else is going to do it for us. Schenectady and Saratoga County, they're not going to come here and say, oh, wow, what a great place. It's not going to happen. We have to be our own champions. And based on, and folks that have been here, there's a lot of familiar faces. You've seen my state of the counties over the years. Tonight was just more of an update, a progress report. And I certainly appreciate you guys being here. But I'll tell you right now, I see it. And I certainly feel it. And as part of, you noted earlier that I was in the MD 500 and the Regional Economic Development Councils have been a part of that. I wanted to share with you a video that really gets, for me, the feeling of what's going on. Now, keep in mind, this is a 6-county video that we did as part of an application for funding for all of our various projects. And I think it really captures the sense of what's going on in the area. And you'll see some cameos from some local folks here. And I hope you enjoy and get straight back.
My hands on myself. Think I'll dust them off, put them back up on the shelf. Here's my little baby girl isn't need. Am I coming out of left field? Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kids.
Made.
Made of something.
Something.
Stronger.
Stronger. Stronger.
Stronger.
I tell you, the first time I saw that video, I got the chills. I almost got a little emotional, if I'm going to be completely honest, because I'll tell you right now, I have that hope. I have that belief that we're heading in the right direction. And if we can have that grittiness, that perseverance that's noted and with this area, I think we can do some really, really great things and get this place to where we want it to be. So thank you, everyone, for coming. I appreciate it. I promised I'd keep it short. Appreciate you being here. Thank you very much.
How great was that? Wasn't that inspiring? Let's give Matt another round of applause. We all have to be so thankful of what he's doing along with his team and the legislature to really move Montgomery County forward. And all you have to do is take a drive throughout the county to see the difference in the past 5 years. That has been incredible, incredible. All the improvements. The beauty of this county is just outstanding. It just took the work to bring it out, and it's there. And it's going to only get better. And as he said, hope? No, he's on the way. And he hopes is true, but it's coming. It's on the way there, and it's succeeding as we see it go. So incredible job, Matt. You did a great job inspiring us about what's happening in the county, and what's going to happen is it's going to be so positive. So thank you again. And I want to thank everybody here for coming one more time. I want to thank CT Mail for being a sponsor of this program. Without sponsors like them, we would not be able to have programs like this. So thanks again, Chad, to you and CT Mail. And I want everybody to know that it's thankful that you're here as well. Thanks to the college, and everybody have a great evening. And please drive safely. The roads are getting slick out there. So thank you for coming again. Thank you, Matt.